Welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti. My guest this evening is fitness expert Mark Fullerton. Hello, sir. Nice. See, you come on with Mezzetti, I give you a title.
Yeah.
See?
That's a nice title, thank you.
That is a nice
You're the
title.
only one that calls me that, by the way.
Oh, am I?
Yeah,
We're not going to talk about,
we're not going
to talk about what other people call you because...
That's true.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So what's new?
Oh, God. Middle of winter. It's, hardest time of the year to be here and hard to, keep your energy levels up and everything. And, just going sideways right now.
Absolutely.
It's getting a little lighter outside. You notice that?
Hey, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And you still teaching spin classes?
Yeah, and a good news since last time we spoke, which was a couple months ago, is that it sort of turned a corner in my eyes now. Like it's
Really?
All the people that fled for the last 3 years from COVID are sort of creeping back in a little bit. We have some exciting classes because they're pushing up to about 10 again.
Okay.
Where they had been about half that. So
all right.
We're getting better.
Now, as far as, is there a cap of how many people per class?
Well, in my gym, 20, because we only have 20 bikes.
Gotcha.
So you can go to a much bigger gym.
Right.
I don't know.
Nah.
I don't know how many they have at the Y, but there's probably more.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not going to the Y.
No, we're going to Iron House Fitness.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So tell us a little bit about you and your background.
Oh, my background? So I'm a service brat, which means my father was in the Air Force, and I traveled to 8 states, 1 other country, switched schools 11 times in 12 years. Yeah, so I think that made me sort of an extrovert, or maybe I would have already been an extrovert, I don't know. But people in schools, military schools and stuff like that, they tend to make new friends easily.
Right.
Because they're always used to leaving and going someplace else. So then I almost went in the military. I went to the military academy for a couple years, and that wasn't for me, so I graduated from University of Maine. Okay. And then I met my first wife on Cape Cod, and I looked at her and I said, "Oh, you're my first wife." No, and then we moved to. She worked in Boston and I worked in Connecticut, so we moved to Providence, and then we relocated to Connecticut, and I've been here for 32 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Obviously, there's a difference in weather between Maine and Connecticut. Not that much.
Yeah, just about 40 degrees. No, I was from 400 miles into Maine. You hit Maine and you drive for 6 more hours before you get to where I used to live. It's Limestone, Maine. It was a half hour from Canada. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Aroostook County, the potato county.
Oh my goodness. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, we went for Christmas. We were up in we were in Whitefield, New Hampshire.
Okay.
Up at the Mountain View Grand. My mom didn't tell my dad and I where we were going. My dad looks at me, he's like, "We're about 45 minutes north of the Canadian border."
Oh, you were?
I'm like, really?
Was it cold?
It was, when we got there Friday, It was 13 degrees.
Yeah, that's so funny. I think the lowest temperature I've been in is -30.
Yeah.
But you can't breathe in all the way. You have to breathe in really slow when it's that temperature. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. I'm glad I'm not there anymore.
Yeah, no, me either.
Yeah, it's nice to be down in Connecticut, where it's balmy in January.
Exactly. So how did you get interested in the line of teaching spin classes?
Well, a friend of mine who had a gym just happened to be the first gym in Connecticut to pick up spinning.
Okay.
And he knew I was a bicyclist, so he asked me if I would teach it. And because I don't like to ride in the wintertime outside,
right.
I was totally motivated to do it. And you choreograph the class to music, right, for your tastes. And for me to be able to do that and work out and get paid for it was just
absolutely
like a home run,
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I did it. I've never stopped. I did it for 26 years now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
That's fun.
Absolutely.
And you still have to come take a class.
I know, yeah, that's right. You and I, last time you were here, we talked about that.
Yeah, we'll go for a Sunday class, Sunday at 9, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Come take it.
We can definitely do that. That would be fun. And now, How hard are your classes, or does it depend on your level of expertise?
Well, that's the beauty of spin classes. You control your own resistance.
Oh, really?
So you could have somebody who's not very fit and older in the class with like a professional cyclist, and and you could and they could both take the same class. They both be motivated by the music.
Right.
They both be motivated by all the people in class.
Right.
But they don't have the same output, obviously. But they could be in the same class because the bikes aren't going anywhere.
Absolutely.
You just have different set of resistance on there. So basically, the music teaches the class.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of a spin snob in the fact that like there's a lot of spinning instructors that I don't think time the music, time the what they're doing in class to the music.
Right.
But there's certain times where a song motivates you to work out a little harder.
Yeah.
Tends to be like the chorus.
Right.
And that's when you do an interval, I call it, where you'll add like a full turn more resistance, or you'll go twice as fast for 15 to 20 seconds.
Okay.
And then after that interval, theoretically, you've gone from an aerobic heart rate to an anaerobic heart rate. And then you go back to the aerobic heart rate, and if you do, say, 20 to 30 intervals during the class where you go anaerobic 20 to 30 times, if the participant, if the student does that, then they'll realize that they'll burn twice as many calories recovering from the class as they did while they took the class. So it's basically, if you do what I want you to do, you get 3 classes for every class you take worth of burning calories. But if you don't go anaerobic during the intervals, then as soon as you get in your car, your workout's over.
Yeah.
You're done. Yeah.
You pretty much crashed and burned.
Yeah. So there is a point to going to heart rate max or anaerobic, which is the recovery it takes your body to recover from that. There's a 60-hour recovery period where you're probably burning 20 to 25 calories more per hour just recovering for 60 hours. So if you multiply that, you got like 1,200 extra calories from having suffered 20 to 30 intervals.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And now how long is the class?
So my classes are either 50 minutes or an hour.
Okay.
Yeah. That's which most classes, I mean, they design spin to be a 45-minute class with a 5-minute warm-up and a 5-minute cool-down. For like serious cyclists, that's not a lot of time.
No.
But an hour's a bit much, I think. But the hardcore people really want it. They want the hour class.
And obviously, you do an hour. You offer an hour class.
Yeah. 5:30 a.m. Wednesday, hour class. Yeah. That's a tough time to get up.
Yeah. Yeah. So you do do you do the 5:30 a.m.
I used to have 3 of them. I only have 1 now. Just 5:30 a.m. on Wednesday is my only 5:30 a.m. class.
Okay.
My other one's 9 a.m. on Sunday.
Sunday, that's right.
Yeah, so that's a reasonable schedule. But
absolutely.
I would like to have 3 classes again, but it's just not popular as it was anymore.
No, and I'm sure, especially now in the way that we are now in the winter, that it's probably tough to get out of bed at 4 in the morning to.
Yeah, I mean, you go back just 3.5 years ago, and 5:30 a.m. class, you couldn't get in unless you signed up 2 days in advance.
Really?
It would be full. Yeah, there'd be people on the waiting list all the time, but that's not the case anymore. Ever since
No.
everybody bought a Peloton. Everybody's at home working out.
Yeah.
Hopefully the Pelotons start to get laundry on them, and they come back to the gyms where there's friends and people to talk to and stuff like that.
Now, what's the difference between the Peloton bikes and the bikes that you guys ride during your spin class?
So the Peloton bike is basically a spin bike. It's probably a little nicer. I mean, you sky's the limit on a spin bike. A gym can buy any caliber.
Yeah.
But the Peloton bike is probably like close to a $2,000 studio bike.
Yeah.
The thing that makes it a Peloton bike is the brand Peloton created the bike to be a studio bike, but it also created all the software it did so that you can perform the class at home along with 4,000 other people around the world. And you pay for that service to bring the class into your house. So most people who buy the Peloton bike are looking for the organized class, and what they do is they follow an instructor or instructors, and they pick different rides that they're going to do. But anytime during the day, you can, they have this big screen. It's a big 18-inch LED screen on the bike, and you see like all of your graphics, your what you're putting out, how hard people are working out. It tells you where you are in there. You might be 111 of 700. You might be 4 of 4,000. I mean, based on how much output. So it's judging your output, your kilojoules output, how much work you're doing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and our bikes, like our spin bikes, right in Iron House Fitness. Well, when we had big classes and everything, our bikes put out work output too, kilojoules, watts, RPMs, heart rate, everything. And so we too had a leaderboard where you'd follow like who was in first and second and third on the thing. And so you could compete. And just to tell you, the truth is when you're competing, you will work out a lot harder than when you're just in a class with no metrics.
And you're sitting around.
Yeah, when there's metrics, you compete, or most people compete with themselves or with other people in the class.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, what is a joule?
Oh God, I'd be lying if I'm
You don't know
just
that?
going to make this up.
That's fine. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll make up a joule. A joule is a kilojoule. A kilojoule is you take watts. What your output is in watts, and you multiply that by time. And somehow watts times time equals kilojoules. So here's a good way to analyze it, right? So watts is your speedometer. I'm going 50 miles an hour. Now I'm going 80 miles an hour. So when you're working out of a bike, you're doing so many watts, maybe 100 watts, and then you're doing 200 watts. So it's like a speedometer. The kilojoules is like the odometer. It doesn't go like this. It just goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it counts up. So the kilojoules continue to accumulate. So you'll do 1 kilojoule, then 2, and then over the course of a class, like we were getting over 1,000 kilojoules in one class. We were getting up to 1,100 at times, which was extraordinary because we all started around 700 when we first got the metric gauges that judged it, that determined what it was. And then because we were competing, we all got like 30% stronger in the next like 6 months. Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's cool. So yeah, so that's like whatever a kilojoule is. It's like an odometer.
All right. Hey, that works.
Yeah.
That explanation is okay with me. And obviously, if you want to take your class, the other thing we want to talk about is you want to learn how to eat right.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you might as well because 80% of what you look like is what you're eating, and only 20% is what you're doing. So you can you can fix your most of what you're doing by eating right. Yeah.
Mark, would you mind sticking around for another segment?
Sure.
All right, we'll be right back.
Do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look.
Community TV, your neighborhood TV.
Publicly funded and a reliable partner for cable companies nationwide, it provides transparent coverage of local and state government, education, and public programming.
A digital town green that can be watched anywhere, anytime, and on any device.
Watch us on today's high-tech distribution methods.
Community TV in Connecticut.
Local,
unfiltered,
reliable, and yours.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti, sitting here with fitness expert Mark Fullerton. Welcome back, sir.
Nice to see you.
Hey,
nice to be here.
Thanks for sticking around and not leaving me.
No, we're good.
Thanks for sticking.
This is awesome. I love
Absolutely. So, all right, we talked about the spin classes. We talked about the bikes. Let's talk about, and we talked about it briefly before we went to the break. How important is what you eat as far as the way you want to work out and trying to be somewhat fit in the world?
Yeah, whatever you eat is like not important at all. You can eat whatever you want, basically. No, I'm kidding. The opposite is true. Eating is like everything. It's like the number one thing you can do to determine what you want to look like is eat correctly,
Right.
and learn how to eat correctly and learn what works for you. I mean, there's all different diets out there. There's low carb diets, there's high protein diets, there's keto diets, and you got to figure out like which of those things works for you and which of those things has like, some of them have negative effects as far as maybe your body or lifestyle. You know, a lot of people do intermittent fasting and stuff like that. The thing about intermittent fasting is like your body's deprived of like glucose all day,
Right.
and so you lose a little bit of energy. And so while that works for some people, you know, if you're going to be doing something where you need a lot of energy, then intermittent fasting is probably not the thing to do that day.
Right.
You know, maybe you can work it into your diet once or twice a week. The latest thing that I changed my diet to was carb cycling. If you've ever heard of that.
No, what is it?
Oh, so a lot of people go on low carb diets.
Right.
Right? Carb cycling is a way to confuse your body so that it burns more glycogen by going on low carb diet twice a week, normal carb diet 3 times a week, and a high carb diet twice a week, which keeps your body sort of guessing. And it also provides you, on those 2 days that you go on a high carb diet, it provides your body with more glycogen to do the long workout you're probably going to do that day if you're going to do a big workout.
Right.
So, you know, I tend to believe that everybody needs 1 gram of protein for each pound that they weigh.
Okay.
So if you weigh 160 pounds, you should be getting 160 grams of protein in a day.
Okay.
But that said, your body can probably only metabolize 40 grams of protein at 1 meal. So if you were to get 80,
Right.
then 40 of them will just simply pass through you.
Right.
So you're going to have to eat 4 times in one day and get 40 grams of protein to get all the protein that you're going to need in one day. That's what I believe. But you know,
Yeah, no.
to build muscle, to continue to have muscle, and people do need carbohydrates. The thing is, there's so many different kinds of carbohydrates. I mean, sugar is a carbohydrate, but it's not the kind of carbohydrate you want.
No.
You want the carbohydrates that come from eating fruits and vegetables and
Right.
things like that. The complex carbohydrates.
The good stuff.
So the good stuff, yeah. So the best thing to do is to eat small meals.
Yep.
Because when you eat a big meal, when you try to, if you don't eat all day and then you eat one big meal, you're doing a few things. You're eating more food than your body can process. You can't possibly, if you ate 100 grams of protein at that one big meal, your body can't metabolize it and use it.
No.
And you're also like increasing the size of your stomach so that like you tend to get hungry more often.
Right.
And a good rule of thumb is like a meal should be as big as your fist. You know, the whole meal should be as big as your fist.
Okay.
Because that's how big you want your stomach to be.
Right.
Like just that big. So you don't want to like, I mean, obviously we go out and we eat more than that, but on a regular daily basis, like small meals, your body will get used to feeling full as you
A
consume
lot quicker than.
a small meal, yeah.
Absolutely.
So have a small meal, that big, and eat it slow, and don't, you know, eat it as slow as you can eat it. Make it take,
Right.
you know, it's funny because I have breakfast with a guy every Sunday, and he takes my class, and then we go eat, and we have to sit there for an hour because he has an egg sandwich every morning, and on Sundays, and it takes him an hour to eat that egg sandwich, and I look and I want to do that. I want to be able to do that.
Right.
But like I would literally eat that egg sandwich in like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, so I can say what's right, but like I can't do it.
No.
But he can.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna try to
You can try that one of these days.
be more like him.
There-
Yeah.
And obviously drink a lot of water to flush out the
Yeah,
system.
that's a problem we all have. I mean, not to promote any one product, but like that's my biggest problem is drinking enough water during the day.
Right.
So I recently found a product that I love called Gatorade Fit that has, it's easy to drink because it has flavor, but it doesn't have, well, it has like 2 grams of sugar, which is almost nothing.
Yeah.
Has almost no sugar, but and the sugar it has is just from watermelon. So it doesn't have like, you know, high fructose corn syrup or
Right.
anything crazy like that. But the beautiful thing about it doesn't have any artificial sweetener either, which is also not good for you.
Yeah, no.
So like every diet soda out there is full of artificial sweetener.
Yep.
Everything that doesn't have sugar in it that tastes awesome is full of artificial sweeteners.
Yep.
But Gatorade Fit doesn't have it. And so like I literally probably have 100 bottles of it in my office because I'll drink it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I just don't drink enough water.
No.
And you should. So.
Absolutely.
But each bottle only has 10 calories, so it's like
Oh.
it's like drinking water. It's pretty close, but it has flavor. So
But it's good for you.
it's probably, well, it has electrolytes. So yeah,
Right.
you're right. It is good for you. Yeah, yeah, it's pretty good.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, what else we want to talk about? We got some time left. What else we want to mention?
I don't know. We talked about this. We could talk about. Let's go into a little bit about resistance exercise.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So, you know, somebody asked me like if you could only do a cardiovascular exercises or resistance exercise to stay fit, you had to pick one or the other, and you couldn't do the one you didn't pick. Which one would you do? And I said, I bought Pete Mezzetti's book of lifting weights.
All right.
And I've determined that lifting the resistance exercises
Right.
would be better off for maintaining a healthy weight
Right.
than the cardio.
Right.
Yeah, because if you do it right, if you do the resistance exercises correctly, which means you do them till you can't do them anymore, and then your body will burn calories, once again, for 60 hours after your workout. And so you'll accumulate all those extra calories that you burn while you're driving, while you're sleeping, while you're at work. Because the day before, when you were working out, you worked out to failure, just to failure. And I recently, like I changed my whole workout like 3 weeks ago, and I'm, 57 years old, almost 58. And what I found out, because I was reading about it, is that one good way to break down muscle tissue so that you actually do break, because it's not easy. You got to do the exercise correctly.
Right.
You've got to use the muscle you're trying to work on. And if you break down that muscle, then it'll take a lot of calories to repair. But there's a school of thought that like muscles react well to a thing called time under tension, TUT.
Okay.
And it's not so much how many repetitions you do. It's not that. It's how long your body is. So I do 10-second repetitions where it's 5 seconds to lift the weight up and 5 seconds to bring it back down. And it looks ridiculous when you see somebody in a gym like doing a 10-second repetition. But after 7 or 8 repetitions, which is like 1 minute and 20 seconds, like it's excruciating, like across the muscle you're using. It's like so painful that it takes me like 4 or 5 minutes to recover from one set of doing that, right? But the thing about it is the next day, like the muscle that I worked out really hurts.
Yeah.
Which is something that I haven't felt probably ever. But so I'm hooked on time under tension.
Okay.
And I think that is really good for inducing that calorie burn after you do resistance exercises.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then just remember when you do that resistance exercise that you only have like 45 minutes to an hour to get protein back in your body, because that's the only time your body can absorb that protein to repair that muscle.
And we actually have to mention tonight, we've got a studio audience, sort of. Sort of.
We have a studio audience?
Yeah, we got people. We got people.
My wife and Vinny the comedian?
Yeah.
Nice.
I know.
You're on, baby.
That's right, Vinny the comedian.
He is.
That would be you. Yeah. Okay. So what else? We got a couple more minutes left.
Oh, I don't know. All
right.
What else is there? We talked about carb cycling.
What?
Another thing I'm doing recently. Let's talk about me.
Okay. All right.
Is HIIT workouts. A HIIT workout is
A HIIT workout.
HIIT stands for high intensity training, and it just
HIIT.
means
There you go.
Yeah. So for a period of time, and I'm talking 20 seconds, you do something as hard as you can so that your heart rate goes to max, and then you take like twice that long to recover. So let's say 20 seconds as hard as you can,
Yep.
and then 40 seconds to recover.
Okay.
And then you do that 15 times, right?
Okay.
And it's only 15 minutes. The whole workout's only 15 minutes. You would
Wow.
think that would be pretty easy, but it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And that's so good for your heart because, like, the way your heart works, they say, like, what's your max heart rate? Do you know the equation to figure out your max heart rate?
No.
Well, theoretically, it's 220 minus your age, because every year you lose 1 beat.
Right.
It's lower and lower. But here's the key that people don't know. If you use it, you don't lose it. So if you
Really?
use your max heart rate, if you actually go up to your max heart rate, then you don't lose that beat. I got a guy, that same guy that eats that sandwich real slow.
Yeah.
He's 67 years old and he has a max heart rate of 182, which isn't possible.
Wow.
Because he should be around 145.
Right.
But he's 182 still because he actually uses his max heart rate. So doing that HIIT workout will allow you to go to your max heart rate, and you'll recover, and you'll do it again 15 times, and then you'll die at 15 minutes because it's so awful and hard. You'll fall over and die. And then if you don't die, you'll actually burn calories for 60 hours after the workout.
There you go.
Again, that's 60-hour king.
There we go. Well, that was a half hour. So Mark Fullerton, thanks for your time. We'll see you again soon.
Anytime.
You got it. On behalf of Mark Fullerton, I'm Pete Mezzetti. Don't move. Thanks, good night. We'll see you next week.